Yo, what's up? This is Ipos Audio. My name is Liam Dawson Thomas, aka Sacred Law. Ipos is essentially my brand, label, and production company, part of Ipos Industries. Ipos Audio is my YouTube channel, um, where I do vlogs, tutorials, um, you know, eventually music videos in the future, uh, and things like that. So, right now, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on mastering in Ableton. I'm only working with Ableton 8 right now, but hopefully most of this will, translate over. Um, and if not, if even if you're using another program, it should be in the general vicinity. Like if you know how to use an EQ, if you know how to use a compressor, if you know how to use a limiter, and things like that, it should be able to extrapolate from this. Um, so, anyways, um, a lot of people will pay money to have mediocre mastering done when they could just learn how to do that level of mastering. Like people send it into like Launcher or whatever, and all it is this little mastering algorithm that they have set up that they put everything through. When you can fucking yeah. So, anyways, um, if you learn how to just master your own stuff, every time you do master, you get better and better and better. Um, and I think that everyone should learn how to do it. Part of my philosophy is do it yourself. Anything that you can do, just fucking do it. You know, shit doesn't have to be perfect. You can just, try to be the everything. The whole fucking package. Where you can just make your own music, you can record over it, you can master it, you can shoot the video, you can do all the production like with software for the music video, and you can put it out. You have all you're in control of all your social media, everything like that. Um, so yeah, mastering is just one module that fits into this piece. Um, so yeah, um, so when we're thinking about mastering, before we get in here, there's two things that I focus on, and that's loudness and clarity. And they're both on spectrums. And it's not necessarily like one side of the spectrum is good and one side of the spectrum is bad. It's a little bit more complex than that. They're grayed out. So it's like you've got your loudness. You want your music to be loud and like at its loudest points, you want it to sound like the same level of amplitude as something that's industry standard. You know, find one of your favorite artists and try to match up to the volume level. Now, while you do want it to be, loud, you don't want it to be completely squashed in the mastering. You want to have some dynamic range. You want there to be parts of your song where it's softer and parts of the song where it's louder. You want to have some dynamics in there. So there's a spectrum there between like, loud and quiet, and you have to sort of balance it out. Um, and then there's clarity. So just because something is extra clear doesn't mean it's good, you know? Uh, uh, it just might mean that it fits into the particular context of a song. Same thing goes for like distorted or unclear or downgraded or low fidelity sounds. Now that's where I work. I like to go against the grain. A lot of my stuff is just I make it with, fairly cheap software. I do all of it myself, basically. Everything that I need is in here, you know. And a lot of my stuff is, I think, kind of like a punk rock or something like that, where it's all about distortion and downgrading, and you know, sometimes downgrading a sound can improve its quality in a certain kind of way, depending on what kind of context you're trying to fit it into. Um, so those are some things to consider. You've got loud, quiet, clear, and distorted or dissonant or whatever. And those are some things to think about while going in. So yeah, let's fucking dive in here and kind of get our hands dirty a little bit. I'm gonna show you an instrumental which I've made. Now I've mastered it, but I'm going to take the mastering off and start from scratch. So one of the keys to a good master, oh, I guess I already took the mastering off. Well, cool. One of the keys to a good master is an awesome mix down. You want your mix to be perfect. You want everything to be relative to the other stuff in a way. You want it to be like you want your drums to be in the right amplitude range, and they relate to the synths, and everything should be meshed and sound good and whole, and everything should be sitting. Like, you don't want to listen to a mix and be like, oh, that snare's too quiet. You kind of want to massage it and work it until you can listen to all the different things and be like, yeah, I think everything's in that sweet spot and clicking. And that's essentially, that was kind of like the long way around. But your mix down, essential. So yeah, let's check out this mix down for this track right here. This from this section one more time. So yeah, you get the basic gist of the track. So here's the mastering channel. We've kind of we've made sure that, nothing's clipping too bad. A little bit here and there is not that big of a deal, but I've, just for the sake of, time, I'm going to just move forward with this and show you the essentials. In any other case, I would have sat there for like forever trying to get that to be perfect, where there's it's loud, but there's no clipping, But yeah, let's jump into this master here. So the first thing to do is a utility, which is just an amplitude phase. Now, because there was some clipping, an easy thing to do to just fix that is drop everything, basically taking the gain of everything and dropping it by 2 decibels. Hopefully that will clear up any little clipping problems that we have. Next thing to do is put in, I'm going to show you 2 different things. This one's really easy. it's just the compressor inside Ableton. Throw the mix gel down, and what you want is you want it to be. Let's just select a section where it's at its loudest and just go for that. So you don't want more than, as a rule of thumb, you don't want more than -6 decibels of gain reduction. So let's check this out here. Let's tighten up this attack actually and tighten up the release. Now that's just about perfect. Now while that is good, that's something that you can use. I really like to use the Supercharger GT by Native Instruments. Go buy it, it's awesome. So here's how the GT works. First there's the input trim. Now this, if it's telling you to go that way if this one's blinking, and if it's here it's telling you to go this way with the knob, and if it's in the yellow it's basically perfect. So normally I'll have it, if it just is there for just a little bit on this side it's fine, but mainly I don't want it to be telling me, hey, go this way. I want it to kind of boost the sound a little bit. See, it just blinks into that red. That's perfect right there, 4.4. Here's some saturation. Now be careful with the saturation because it can cause some problems with your overall mix. But if you're trying to just be like super fucking punk rock, you can just use this subtly, I guess. But I'll show you the craziness. Really silly of me that I forgot this. I kind of just jumped in. So after your utility, just do, sometimes I'll do a bunch of different EQs, but let's have this right here in the chain, and all we're gonna do is just cut out the lows and the highs. Like these frequencies you don't really need, they're just kind of superfluous, they're unnecessary. Yeah, so yeah, no big deal about that. Let's check out our supercharger. So yeah, let's mess around with some more saturation. See, like too much saturation is terrible, but sometimes just a little bit of downgrading can kind of, you know, it might complexify the sound waves a little bit more. Yeah. So now let's go to our compressor section and turn down the attack pretty low. Let's do like 2, and let's do 2 on this as well. Just pretty low, not very affected, kind of loosey-goosey basically. And with this I just a little bit of compression. Just take off the top in your master, which is something that I picked up from Flux Pavilion. I think he has like, I don't know, go check out like tutorials, Flux Pavilion or something like that. He actually has some great stuff. Resco's also really cool too, super old school dubstep stuff. But just like the mix gel, how I was telling you with the gain reduction, here's our gain reduction gauge right here. For this one, it's normally like I don't have it go past -4. And here's some character. I think it's just like an EQ. We can just boost the low end a little bit. So yeah, now here's part of my heresy, I guess, because and it's sort of like I have to push the line, like I have to step right up to the edge of where it's um, like it's a process, because sometimes because of this method, it'll end up screwing up my master. And there will be imperfections and saturation points where you can like hear um, flaws. So it's something that I've been working with, and sometimes I've like just polish it, polish it, polish it, and I get it into that sweet spot. Um, so yeah, this isn't like the perfect way to do it, but I just jack it up by 4 decibels, your limiter, after the supercharger. Now let's take a look at this mastering. Whoops. What's the best way to do this? I think it's in here. So yeah, having a look at our master. So now our limiter is set by 4 decibels. So now I start jacking the output of the compressor, and essentially what I'm doing is there's a point where it's limiting it. It's not letting it get any louder, but I'm pushing the quieter stuff up against the ceiling. So you'll see. Now, my rule of thumbs, just so that you don't have too much oversaturation of your sound, and so that you still have a certain semblance of dynamics within your track, amplitude dynamics, you want a little bit of breathing room right there. You want to see, you'll see. Now with this output, I try to make sure that it's not in the white here. So that's basically it, everybody. That's it. Let's have a listen to the whole thing and take a look at our master. see, that's the intro, and it's not slammed up against there yet. So there's like dynamics in there where it's quieter at certain parts of the song, which is a good thing. You don't want to be slammed up at the top the whole time. You want to give it a little bit of breathing room, or else it's gonna sound really bad. Or I mean, maybe if that's what you're going for, depending on what you're making, then that's cool. But like if you're trying to do some weird experimental shit, I don't know. I always, fuck around with stuff and see like, oh, I'm just gonna fuck this up to see what happens, and you might find interesting things. So yeah, yeah, let's keep on listening. Let me just gonna show you the difference really. Let's fling an audio effect rack in here and stack it up. Let's just toss this mix gel for the time being, and then the EQ, and then the utility. So here is our without mastering. Here's with mastering. Yeah, so that's essentially the basics. Throw a utility down, just in case you want to like boost your mix a little bit or drop it down. That's an easy way to do it with your utility. Put your EQ 8, cut out your highs and lows that you don't need. Um, then limit. Uh, Make sure it's like you've got a tight attack, a tight release, just a little bit. You want your rule of thumb to be -4, -6, or something like that, as far as the compression goes. And then you put your limiter in, boost it, and then slowly jack your output and slam it into the limiter ceiling. Um, and that's what will get you that volume level that you're looking for, probably. Um, Now, this isn't the perfect way to do it. This is just the basics, essentially, and you've got to work on your own routines, and how you kind of conduct your activities, and how you use your technique in the box, whichever fucking thing you're working with, be it Ableton or Logic or whatever. Um, so yeah, I hope you've gleaned a little bit and learned a little something. That would be awesome. Um, have a great one. Deuces.